Good morning, each and everyone. Welcome to episode number 18 of IT Talks. This side, myself, Shivang Sharma, and my co-host, Sneha Kamalpuria. We warmly welcome our director, Sir, Dr. R.G. Ratnawat, sir, for today's episode on IT Talks on the topic of e-governance. We are very blessed to have him on this show. So before starting off with the show and starting off with the rituals of question and answer, let me first introduce you to Ratnawat, sir. So before starting with his introduction and starting about his achievements and giving you a bit summary about us, sir, let's start with one of the famous quotes in which sir believes. It's student engagement has been a challenge forever, and it is more than so in the virtual environment. And I guess this is something which sir has experienced recently, and he has got an idea about it in a much better way, and he is doing a lot of things to for the enhancement and betterment of the future of the kids who are studying under him. Dr. R.G. Ratnawat is a director at Atharva Institute of Management Studies, Mumbai, and is an educationist, an author, researcher, motivational speaker, soft skill trainer, and a career and a life coach. Having over 36 years of experience in education, training, research, administrature, coaching, and counseling. His areas of expertise include human resource management, performance management, psychometric analysis, and soft skill, including personality, emotional intelligence. He has trained over 10,000 individuals on variety of technical and soft skills. Dr. Ratnawat has published several research papers in international and national journals. He has demonstrated his leadership abilities while setting up higher education institutes, including engineering college, architecture college, hotel management institutes, etc., and always exceeded stakeholders' expectations in all the areas that he has worked in. His core strength lie in institution development, capacity building, relationship management, and technology development and implementation. Dr. Ratnawat sir has a PhD in management from the prestigious Birla Institute of Technology, preceded by MBA in HR and ME Mechanical Engineering in Civil. He is professionally associated with National HRD Network (NHRDN), the Institution of Engineers India (IEI), the Indian Institute of Industrial Engineering (IIEI), and the Indian Society for Technical Education (ISTE), and several online committees. He has published a book on performance management and several research papers in international and national journals, as I mentioned before. His current research project include emotional intelligence, personality, and performance. He believes life is work in progress, and his guiding principle is perfectionism is mediocrity. And we are very lucky to have him today. And myself and Sneha, we both must be considering ourselves extremely lucky that we have got some beautiful lessons, not only in terms of education but in terms of life from you, because we have been learning under you. So, very warm welcome and a very good morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Shivang and Sneha, for this elaborated introduction. Though it is not, I don't feel it is that much required. But yeah, when it is a long span of 36 years, you gather, you go on accumulating the things in your account. Uh, yeah, and there was a small, very little correction in the profile. It was ME. That is, ME stands for Master of
Masters is engineering. Okay,
Master of
okay.
Engineering in Civil.
Civil, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry. I'm very much sorry for that. I'm
nice.
very much sorry for
It's
that.
perfectly all right. Perfectly all right. Yeah.
So
So
today's topic, as we have taken up, e-governance is a topic which we have taken up, sir. So e-governance is something which is very much new, especially for a developing country like India. So before starting about any further discussion on e-governance and how it works, I want you to tell our viewers and to us also what basically e-governance means. If you have to explain it to a layman. So what basically is e-governance?
well, uh, e-governance. E stands for electronic. First of all, now there are these two words, electronic and governance. So first of all, let us understand what is governance. Governance actually refers to the structures and systems and processes designed to actually three important things: manage, regulate, and control uh, the accountability, transparency, responsiveness, the speed, rule of law, stability, etc., relating to different government schemes, plans, initiatives, etc. with a wide-based participation. So that is what is governance. Coming to e-governance, as I said, E stands for electronic, which means that uh, usage or application of information and communication technology, that is ICT, in providing, in simple terms, usage of ICT for providing government services to the public at large, plus exchange of information different between different stakeholders. For example, uh, when it comes to government, it can be central government to state government and vice versa. And then sometimes there is exchange of information between different state governments, which means that suppose a particular state government has implemented some good plan or good scheme, and the other state governments wants to copy that. So the state governments can exchange the information about such schemes. So an example in this case may be a scheme like Ladli Lakshmi Yojana, if you have heard about, it was about education and taking care of all the aspects of girl child. So right from birth to till the time she gets matured and reaches to the age of marriage. So Ladli Lakshmi Yojana was one scheme that was conceived and implemented first time by MP government. Then it was copied by several other governments. And like that, there are several other schemes which different state governments keep on implementing and others keep on copying or emulating. So that's how the information exchange takes place between different governments or among different governments. Okay, and it also takes care of the e-governance. Also takes care of integration of various independent systems. By this, what I mean is that still even after implementation of even after considerable time has passed since the uh, e-governance was first time conceived and implemented, we still have different silos in which people are working, which means that there are different departments having their own set of informations, but everything is not accessible to everyone. Okay. So one of the important projects at the central government level and sometimes at the state government levels also is integration of different systems. So this is all about e-governance. Okay.
Very correctly said, sir. So, as you told us how it is important to understand about e-governance, so I would like to ask you what are the major benefits of e-governance?
Yes, see this. The very purpose of implementing e-governance was, first of all, to increase the efficiency and speed or effectiveness of different, government plans and schemes that are related to society. So, naturally, when the transactions take place electronically, the speed increases drastically, and then it increases transparency because there is no scope for any personal bias or personal choice to whether to pass on this benefit to particular sector of society or particular individual or not. When it is on electronic platform, it is completely transparent. So for example, if we talk about DBT, direct benefit transfer, which the government, this present government has taken up in a big way post 2016 particularly. Though the work was started way back in 2014, as soon as the government came into power, they started this Jan Dhan Yojana account opening, and till date, more than 52 crores accounts have been opened. Now, what is the benefit of this e-governance in this particular initiative is that all the monetary benefits are being transferred to the beneficiaries directly in their bank accounts, which is actually making sure that there is no scope for any corruption. Speed is extremely high, which means that recently when the installment of this Kisan Samman Yojana, if you remember recently when Prime Minister Modi transferred this 18,000 crores of rupees in the accounts of the farmers, he just said that I am just push the button and transfer 18,000 crore rupees, and there is no scope. So So increasing efficiency and effectiveness of all the systems and processes involved, uh, increased responsiveness, which means that no officer or no office bearer at any level can give any kind of excuses when it comes to passing on the benefits or providing the information. So when I say providing the information, we have IT Act, Right to Information Act in place, where everything is clearly defined. You apply for any information that you're seeking, and the concerned officer is bound to give that information within a specified period of time, that is 30 days. Okay. So one has to be responsive, whether and there is no choice. Then speedy and timely delivery of services, of course, of all the government services. Corruption is reduced in the process, and it has become convenient for all the stakeholders, for the implementers as well as the beneficiaries. And of course, due to economies of scale, when all these systems are being implemented at a larger level, it has resulted into cost reduction. So there was huge amount of paperwork earlier for different schemes. Now everything is being done electronically. So it has brought down the cost drastically. So these are the some of the benefits which, if you want to summarize, it increases the efficiency and effectiveness, reduces the corruption, provides timely and speedy delivery of all services, and convenient for all the stakeholders. These are the benefits of e-governance.
Definitely, sir. Because I think so. If we start counting each and every benefit, it will be a day long process, because benefits are many of these things. And
Yes, yes.
correctly, as you said, that previously there was a mindset of people wherein whenever we used to tell that there is something we have to do by going to government office. For example, if you have to go to post office or something, the very first reaction was, "अरे यार बहुत time लगेगा उधर काम करने को." There's no need of going. They'll be taking months and months to do this work. So definitely, the speed has increased and efficiency has increased. Also, as you told, that corruption can't be done on e-governance, because there is particular stipend amount which you have to give, and that amount has to be paid, and no extra amount has to be paid on up. So majorly, sir, as you told that
And one more thing I would like to add, indirect benefit of this, the trust among the people has gone up actually for the government. You know, so like you said that there was a time earlier times people had this impression that when it comes to government scheme or government plan or government benefit or anything, it will take time and there is hardly any possibility, or the chances are very less, and there's a lot of corruption. So in a way, people did not have, very low amount of trust people had, in fact, which has gone up now. Yeah. So that is another benefit.
definitely. So that as I said, that the benefits are something like that. That if you keep on recalling, there will be so number of benefits that will be left out of questions, other questions. So majorly, sir, talking about like as you told that what basically e-governance is, and what are the advantages of it. But on a personal basis, also, I would like to understand what is the background of e-governance. Where did it came from? Like what was the idea behind it, and what's the background of it?
See, if you ask me the background of the history or the evolution of this particular concept of e-governance, it goes back to 1970. Way back in 1970, the importance of information and communication was realized, and accordingly, the government set up a department of electronics in 1970. Then, after 7 years of that, government set up what you known it today as NIC, National Informatics Center, where all the information related to all the things at the government level uh, would be compiled and maintained by NIC. Okay, and NIC is very much in function even today. So through this NIC, the government came up with district information centers, DICs, which means that all the information related to a particular related to everything in a district is available in DIC. Okay. So people can just access DIC and avail whatever information is required. So that was a initial phase or phase one, if you look at it, or if you can, look at it in two phases. So that was a part of phase one, starting with setting up of Department of Electronics in 1970, and then NIC in 1977, under which the district information centers were set up, and then then NIC came up with NIC network, NIC NET in 1987. So these years are also important. 70, the Department of Electronics was set up, and then after 7 years, uh, NIC came into existence, and then in 87, after again another gap of 10 years, the NIC network came into existence. Okay, and post that, again there was a gap of considerable period of time. So until we had this IT Act in 2000, year 2000, we did not have a robust system of implementing whatever government schemes that we wanted to implement through electronic medium, because there were concerns for safety and security of data. So unless we had this IT Act, which came into existence in year 2000, we did not have really the infrastructure required to implement all the schemes that the government wanted to implement. So that was, that came in phase two, starting with year 2000 IT Act, and then in 2006, uh, government came up with certain mission mode projects. Certain projects were identified which the government named them as mission mode projects, the projects which had clear objectives, measurable outcomes, and time bound results, expected results. So and it was said that these projects are to be implemented in a mission mode. Okay. So and accordingly they were named as MMPs only, mission mode projects. So initially the central government of India came up with 27 such MMPs. Okay. And later on, the state governments also realized that yeah, there is a need for such MMPs at state level also. That because in our federal structure of governance, we all know that there are certain subjects which are central government level subjects. Uh, there are certain subjects which are state level subjects, and there are certain subjects which are concurrent. Okay. So if you talk about a subject like foreign affairs, it is central government level subject. And if you talk about a subject like education or law and order, etc., these are the state level subjects. Okay. And then there are certain concurrent subjects. So 27 MMPs identified in 2006, and after 5 years, four more important projects were added to this, making it to 31. Similarly, the state governments came up with their own MMPs. So, and then as I said, there are certain subjects which are concurrent subjects. So there was a need for some projects which are integrated, or which involved both state government and central government. Okay. So at central level, there are 31 MMPs which are in process. At state level, different state governments have different list of MMPs depending on their priorities and availability of resources. And then there is a list of integrated MMPs. Okay. So this is how this e-governance came into existence starting from 1970 till date. Okay. So this is about the history and background to the entire e-governance thing.
Yes, sir, it's a very long time, and it has obviously seen a lot of improvement and development over the years. So, sir, can you please help us with some of the major examples of e-governance which has brought some drastic changes in the economy and growth?
Okay, so I would say some of the programs which are very popular, maybe at state level or maybe at central level. So if you to name a few, uh, for example, the Karnataka government came up with a scheme called Bhumi project, okay, which was relating to land records, so making the land records available to the farmers at the click of button. This is a very popular project which was copied by many state governments later on. Okay. Then there is another project which was conceived and implemented by Karnataka government, which was called as Khajane. okay, which was relating to managing the finances, all state government finances. Then Andhra government came up with a scheme called e-Seva, where all kind of services are provided to the public electronically. Then at central government level, one of the MMPs at central government level, there is something called as e-courts, you know, where everything related to courts and judgment and judiciary is done electronically. Though this particular project has not been implemented in full till now, because while I was talking to you, Shivang, yesterday, you mentioned something like e-government. Okay,
Yes.
so the simple concept is the government which is running completely electronically is e-government, as simple as that. But practically, if we think, is it possible in a particularly in a country like India? I don't think it is going to be possible for next few decades even. I don't know after 4 or 5 decades what is going to happen and what kind of technology is going to come. But then uh, it is going to be a mix of manual, I mean, paperwork and electronic work both. Okay. So on the similar reasoning, these e-codes have not been implemented in full till date. Okay. Then there are certain districts which are completely being run on electronic in through electronic medium, which you call them e-districts. Okay. So central government identified certain districts and which were made, which are automated through e-governance uh, e-governance mechanism. And then there are concepts, the different concepts like e-office. Okay. And when it comes to e-office, you will find there are many companies which are having e-offices now, paperless offices that we call them. And so these are some of the examples at both the state and central government level. And in this context only, there are certain recent developments. So, for example, Digital India, which we all have heard about, and there is a lot which is being talked about Digital India. So this is another initiative, recent initiative and recent development in this particular direction. And Digital India as a whole is a big project under which there are different small projects. So My Government and Digi Locker and e-hospitals and e-education, and there are several other smaller projects under Digital India. Okay.
And
So
definitely, sir. As you mentioned, DigiLocker, it is something which has been very useful for us, so that we don't have to carry our ID proofs with us everywhere we go.
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So before proceeding ahead with our question, I guess you answered this question, but again, like there's a question from our viewer Akshar Jain. He has asked, so what is the major difference between e-government and e-governance, as you previously mentioned? So he's asking that question, Akshar Jain.
Yeah, I think I've partly answered this question. E-governance, we very well have explained, understood. It is in simple language. It is the application of ICT, information communication technology, in implementing different government schemes and plans, and with a wider participation. When it comes to e-government, it is the government which is operating electronically, which is still a theoretical concept, as I said. Okay. Uh, and I don't see, if you ask me particularly, I don't see in near future the government is going to be fully electronic, particularly at the state government level and central government level. Yes, it is possible at some local government level. So, for example, there may be some municipalities or municipal corporations which may operate 100% electronically. That is possible because the scale is smaller. Okay, but one of the major reasons for this particular e-governance not being achievable in 100% is that majority of our population in the country still lives in rural areas where there is a huge challenge of internet connectivity and internet speed and the related infrastructure, which is going to take its own time. you know so this is what it is: e-government and e-governance.
Definitely, sir. As you told, sorry, as you told that e-governance is because India is a developing nation and nearly about 50 to 60% of people live in the rural area, so that might be challenge. But I'll come on to challenges later on part. So
Yeah.
first, I'd like to ask you, so that basically who implemented this e-governance in India? Where like as you mentioned that it started back in 1970, but whose idea was it, and what was the thought process behind implementing this e-governance?
Uh, I gave you the background. Like it was conceived and started way back in 1970. But then it was Kerala state government which first time implemented this project at a smaller level, which they called as or they named as Akshaya. Okay, and Akshaya actually. Uh, what they did under Akshaya is that they set up around 5,000, community technology centers through which the public, general public, could get all kind of services they wanted from the government. Okay, so you know, that is how it was started by state government of Kerala.
Okay, sir. Sir, you rightly mentioned about how it has been a challenging thing for a country to adapt e-governance. So, basically, what are the different aspects of e-governance? Like, what all needs to be done as a part of e-governance?
Okay, if I answer this in simple words, it is all about information management, basically. You know, so when I say information management, it includes the classification and arrangement and categorization of different information in the usable form. Okay. And that includes information management includes database management, so management of different types of data, then knowledge management, okay, under different repertoires of uh, or repertoires of knowledge or knowledge centers, and then uh, the metrics through which the effectiveness of different government schemes are measured. The management of that also is an important aspect of e-governance. Okay, so broadly it is information management, but then under information management, uh, we have database management, we have what it is called as metrics management or indicator management. So indicators are nothing but basically the metrics in terms of which you measure the effectiveness of any scheme. So for example, uh, say effectiveness of the Jan Dhan Yojana. Okay, so how do you measure it? The first matrix is number of accounts opened. The second matrix is number of accounts operational on a particular given period, given point of time. Okay. Because all these accounts which have been opened or which were opened may not be necessarily functioning or working. Okay. Many of these accounts might have gone dormant. So at any given point of time, if you want to measure the effectiveness of that particular scheme, the first metric that comes to mind is number of accounts. Then at a particular point of time, how many accounts are operative? That is another metric. So like that, for each and every scheme, to measure its effectiveness, there will be certain metrics or indicators. So indicator management is also a big task in itself as a part of e-governance. And then, as I said, knowledge management. So management of variety of knowledge.
Exactly. So majorly, sir, before proceeding ahead with the question, I just as you mentioned that majorly it's all about information system, and relating to your previous question, wherein you told that major population of India is from rural areas, and because the knowledge of technology is not that much evident amongst the rural areas, they are not much aware about technology. There's also fear amongst the people that they're not ready to share the information. They're not willing to share the information, thinking that there might be some fraud, or there might be misusage of the information. So how do you not train, but how do you educate people, especially of those areas?
See, it is an evolving process. Any system you design in the beginning, and you can't expect it to be 100% foolproof. Okay. So on one side you have developers, and the other side you have hackers. You know, so this process is an evolving process. Yesterday, the safeguards and safety measures that you did not have, you have them today. And the only solution is uh, going on educating people and innovation. innovation in the field of data security particularly. That only can ensure the safety and security of data, and in the process, once the public feel that the data is safe and secure, they will have the trust and they will be ready to pass on that information or share that information that they think is important. But any point of time, I think even today, I think that the strongest of systems in the world. So, for example, there have been instances where biggest of companies' websites have been hacked, right? In countries like US also even, and there have been instances where there has been hacking of website of agency like Pentagon. Okay, so which has got the strongest and most robust data security systems in place, but still there are hackers, you know, extra brilliant hackers who will come up with their own solutions or mischiefs. Okay.
own set of tools to hack
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So, sir, basically, as you told that this is an evolving process. So, what are basic objectives of e-governance? What are the objectives of e-governance?
See, when we talked about the benefits of e-governance, basically that those were the objectives. So first of all, the government wanted to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of different schemes. Uh, I'm again and again talking about a scheme like the direct benefit transfer (DBT), through which the government figures say that the government is saving about 90,000 crores of rupees, which was the amount which was being siphoned off in between. And I don't know your generation remembers or not, but then way back in 1986, when Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister, he had made a statement that when the central government passes on one mumfali, you know, uh, and till the time it reaches the actual beneficiary, only one dana, one peanut remains. And assuming that, which was actually interpreted as if the actual benefit transfer is about 15% of the actual amount released by the government, central government. So one sixth, assuming that there are six, peanuts within a nut, okay, groundnut. So that was a major concern. Corruption was a major concern. So to bring down the corruption, increase the transparency, effective transparency and speed, and bring in transparency and responsiveness of different systems and offices and different government bodies, etc. These are the major objectives. Okay. Otherwise, what is happening? Any good scheme government comes up with, and it takes years together to implement and to reach to the bottommost level. Okay. Now, because everything is being done electronically, it just on the push-up button, you can just achieve what you want to achieve, right? So these are the major objectives. Increasing efficiency and effectiveness, bringing in transparency and accountability at all levels, and reducing the corruption.
Perfectly said, sir. Sir, as we understood till now that it is a very wide concept and it cannot be covered in one day. So,
Of course.
what is the yes, sir? What is the basic scope of e-governance? Like what it comprises of? What is the major scope?
So you can look at e-governance at four different levels. One, government to government. Like in business parlance, we say something like B2B and B2C and all that. In the context of e-governance as well, we have something called as G2G, government to government, which means that exchange of information between either different state governments or central government and state government and vice versa. So G2G is one. Then government to business. Businesses also have to interact and transact with the government and vice versa. So when government wants to pass on certain information or implement certain schemes, so for example, say government wants to implement new taxation rules, okay, which they have to make public and they have to make the businesses aware of that. Okay, so uh, G2B, that is another aspect of e-governance. G2G, G2B, then G2 employee, because there are huge number of government employees at different levels, both central and state government levels, and it is imperative that the government needs to pass on certain information relating to employees to employees. Uh, Say, for example, the information related to employee benefits. Okay, different employee policies. Okay, wherein there is exchange of information sometimes, when the employees wants to get some information or wants to lodge some complaint or something. So it is a two-way process. So government to employee. Okay. So government to government, government to business, government to employee, and government to citizens, G2C, which is the biggest chunk of it. Okay. These are the four different levels at which you can look at the e-governance, and it almost covers everybody involved, all the stakeholders.
So basically, sir, as you gave us the what is the objective and what is the scope of e-governance, but for any scheme or any idea to move ahead, there are some key components. There are some pillars of each on which we need to work, and those pillars need to be very strong so that it can be built further. Like it's just like it's a kind of a base of a building. So what are those pillars of e-governance, sir?
Right. When you ask this question, what comes to my mind is a typical concept of an organization. So what are the essential components of any organization? Government is also an organization, right? And what are the essential components, or as we call them as pillars of an organization? People, structures or processes, technology, and resources. So these are the important pillars, four important pillars of e-governance as well. Okay, people, structures and processes, uh, including systems, and technology, which is important and most important, I would say, and the required resources. Okay? So four important pillars of e-governance: people, structure, technology, and resources.
Okay, sir. So as you mentioned, there are hackers which are like they can hack into anything, even if the security is very high. And Shivang also mentioned about security, data security. So I would like to ask you about what can be done, what is being done, and what can be done in data protection, security in e-governance. Like there is a huge data transaction taking place, so there has to be a lot of security for the people who are doing regular transactions. So what can be done and what is already being done?
All right. I would first answer this question: what should be done? So which we have referred to in our conversation as well. What should be done? The system should be made as robust as possible. Uh, but then, what is being done, or what is the existing mechanism at different levels which is available for data protection and security? So the umbrella rule or umbrella law that is available is IT Act 2000, and then IT Act is not so comprehensive that it can cover everything and all the aspects of life. Okay, which necessitates the laws in different fields. So, for example, we have laws related to finance in the area of finance. Under finance, again, say whether it is banking or non-banking, or payment systems, and stock markets and several other aspects of finance field. So we have laws in place related to banking. So, for example, Banking Regulation Act 1949, and then Credit Information or Companies Regulation Act 2005, and like that, the list is very very long. Then you have SEBI Act, which came into existence in 1992. Prior to 1992, you just cannot imagine how messy it was as far as the operation of stock market is concerned. It was a complete mess, and as a result, if you heard about and read about Harshad Mehta scam, which happened around 1995, you know, because because there was no transparency in the system. Things were being done manually, I don't know. Sometimes I would say that go back and go on internet and find out how the stock market operated before 2000. You will find stunning pictures. Where there would be huge crowd in the trading hall in Dalal Street building. You must be knowing about that. The Bombay Stock Exchange particularly. So there is a huge hall, trading hall on the fifth or sixth floor, where there would be tremendous crowd of people, traders, and there will be auction of each and every company's shares. Okay, and people would bid by shouting 100 रुपया 110 रुपया 110 रुपया 10 पैसा like that, and finally the share would be allotted to the highest bidder. So that was the kind of business, that is the way the business used to be conducted. And then slowly this Securities and Exchange Board of India came into existence in 1992. So like that, in the field of finances we have several laws catering to the finance areas. We have laws in the field of health or health sector. So there are again several acts and laws which are available. So Mental Act 1997 and Indian Medical Council, that is IMC Act 2002, and then there are several other laws. Similarly, in other fields as well. So in the field of IT, we have a law as old as 1885, Indian Telegraph Act, which was implemented in 1885. So starting from there, we have several laws in the field of IT, coming up to IT Act 2000. And even post that, there have been several amendments to that particular act. So major amendments were made in the year 2005 in the IT Act. Okay, and then particular laws related to particular schemes and plans. So, for example, to implement Aadhaar, government came with a new law, the Aadhaar Act, okay, 2006, where it was made mandatory to link Aadhaar to the PAN card and so on and so forth. So we have laws, sectorial laws basically as of now, and we all hope that we see a day where all these laws are integrated for the purpose of data security and protection. But I don't know when it is going to happen. And no country in the world is having such a robust system where everything can be linked and integrated in one system. We don't have any such system really existing in any part of the world.
Perfectly said, sir. So, as we have seen the whole journey of e-governance, and we have mostly covered all the major examples of e-governance. So, I wanted to know what are the most recent developments in it, like in the past few years, what has been implemented recently?
All right. The most popular and most extensively used output or outcome of this e-governance is government web portals, okay, which we call it as which is an umbrella website actually, which is called as web directory of Government of India, through which you can access any department, any system of government. Okay. So web directory is a recent development. Okay. All kind of information is available through web directory. Then there is a policy the government came up with which promotes the usage of open source softwares. This is another recent development. Then post 2016, particularly 8th November 2016. Okay, you remember, you know, demonetization happened on 8th of November 2016. Post that, government promoted digital payments in a big way. So this is another recent development and a directly visible benefit of e-governance. And recently we are seeing something like mobile governance also. So a lot of things are being governed through mobile. You can get lot of services through your mobile. That's a part of e-governance. So these are and of course under Digital India there are several initiatives, as I said earlier. which are some of them are recent, and day by day it is picking up and developing and growing. So more and more initiatives are coming up under e-governance.
Uh, yes, exactly. So as you said that development has been made, and continuous development is something which is required for every scheme or every organization to sustain. And this is something which you also believe, as I mentioned in your summary, that this is something which you believe that regular upgradation and regular development of a particular made by an individual or an organization, it is very much required for it. So, sir, before moving ahead for further questions of ours, there are a few questions that are received in comment section, but I just missed out. So I'll just ask you some questions from there. So the very first question was from Ganesh Kulkarni sir, and he has been asking that how e-government can be implemented in educational institutions in rural India.
Okay. See, government has come up with uh, this MMP called e-education. Okay. Education is a part of mission mode projects, both at central government level, and some of the state governments are also implementing it. Now, what initiatives government has come up with under MMPs are the web portals like Swayam and NPTEL, and government is also rather making sure that the the highly rated and prestigious organizations like IITs and IIMs and likes, they are disseminating knowledge. Okay, so if you visit, for example, IIT Bombay website, there is a huge amount of knowledge which is freely available to everyone. Okay. So for management also, if you log in, look at IIT Bombay website, you will find several management subjects there. You know, e-books are available and other forms of content. The content is available in other forms as well, which is freely accessible. So that is another medium through which government is trying to come up and implement education. And then at different level, government is coming up with different plans. So for example, at primary education level and secondary education level and tertiary education level, of course, different projects and schemes the government is coming up, and it is being implemented uh, through mostly the local government. So for example, in rural area at primary education level, the gram panchayats are being empowered. You know, they are being provided the necessary resources, internet facility, and the computer equipment, and other infrastructure required to implement the education as a part of e-governance. This is how the government is. This is what the government is doing. Of course, it is going to take a lot of time, because the major reason for your major challenge or hurdle is the illiteracy, and specifically technical illiteracy. You know, technical illiteracy. Sitting in a place like Bombay or any metro city, it is very easy to assume that almost everybody is aware of what internet is and how to use internet. But then you go to rural places and you will see the real India, where people are जिसको बोलते हैं दूर दूर तक उनका कोई नाता रिश्ता नहीं है इससे, इंटरनेट से. So unless that literacy, technical literacy comes in, it is not going to be possible to implement it in full.
Definitely. So as you mentioned that rural India is the actual India wherein you need to believe, and जहाँ दूर दूर तक टेक्नोलॉजी, मैं तो ये समझता हूँ कि दूर दूर तक शायद बहुत सारे ऐसे भी हैं जहाँ जिन्हें ये नहीं पता कि फोन उठाना कैसे और कट कैसे करना है. There are
Exactly.
people who are using keypad phones. They are still using keypad phones, and thanks to development of technology, that even in keypad phones now internet is available, and you can access to some of the applications which are just previously available on Android and touchscreen phones. Also, there is one more question from Akshar itself again, saying that as we majorly as we as a students are from education background itself, so how this e-governance is beneficial for us as students?
Okay. The biggest benefit of e-governance is e-education. You know, till I would say 10 years before, you could not imagine, or you had not seen anything like education, online education being available. Of course, there is a huge development in last 2 years post pandemic, onset of pandemic, which necessitated basically. But otherwise, if you see 10 years before, nobody even imagined that the education can be provided online. Now you have n number of websites and n number of universities which are offering online education at dirt cheap cost. Okay. And sometimes when I discuss with the professionals in the field, people have this apprehension now that it should not happen that this online education completely replaces the brick and mortar education system. Okay. Of course, if it happens in future, I don't know, but then it is of course going to take time. And as of now, even your generation, our generation, is fully convinced and realizes this. But then even your generation would realize that there is an importance of something called as school and college. You know, and in last 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years, people have realized this, and particularly at school level, people are feeling it bad, very bad, and they are almost craving to go to school, back to school actually. So there is importance, but then the biggest benefit of this is that education is any kind of education is available from any topmost university and institute all across the world at dirt cheap cost. That is the major and biggest benefit of uh, e-education.
Definitely, sir. So, majorly, as you told that education at cheap cost is something which is very much required, especially if
I would just add one point here.
sure.
As a student, what you can do, because the question was specific to this. See, few months before, I attended one seminar where it was conducted by webinar rather. It was conducted by one of the engineering colleges in Karnataka somewhere, and the hosting professor, he mentioned that it was related to online education, etc., only. And he mentioned that, sir, during this lockdown period only, I completed 198 certifications. 198 certifications. So this is the biggest advantage. Now, at these sites like Coursera and edX and so many other websites, you will see one major option which is available to you. If you don't want to buy the course, don't buy. You can simply learn. You don't have to pay anything. Okay. As long as you don't want a certificate, you don't need to buy it. So it is freely available, which you could not imagine a few years before. Any subject knowledge you want, it is freely available. That is the biggest advantage of e-governance.
Exactly, sir. So this free education and education at cheap cost is something which is very much required. Like it was previously also required, but if we just look at last 2 years, like last 2 years, how the people have suffered because of this pandemic situation. We like basically as I have been working with a particular group of people who used to work for education. So I understand. I have been in contact with the parents who are not who are worried about the children, but because the education has been so costly that they can't do anything for it. So this is something which is really good that government has started. Also, they recently started with an application called Diksha for the student studies. Also, talking about technology, there was one more statement. It was a kind of a statement from Poonam ma'am. Basically, she said that she thinks that in rural areas, it is not just the awareness of technology is less, but also the penetration of technology altogether is missing. So, what are your thoughts on this, sir?
Of course, penetration will take place only when it starts with awareness, basically, and that too when the awareness is spread free of cost. Okay. So if you think of any scheme, any government scheme, what government tries, and not only government, even private companies also, any awareness they want to spread, they first of all, in first time they spread it free of cost. You know, and try to bring the users or the end users or the consumers to a certain level of comfort, you know, and then there is a psychological need which is created among the people slowly, and then the people make up their mind to even pay for that service, you know. So this is how it's a gradual process. So penetration will come only starting with awareness. Increased awareness, and then people start realizing the benefits of this e-governance, and then people at one point of time the people start also, become ready to pay for those kind of services. So this is how it increases.
Definitely, and adding to that, also Shubhi ma'am has added that infrastructure is also missing in rural India
Yeah,
majorly.
that is one of the major challenges for the government, and which requires huge investment. Huge investment. Okay, apart from the other challenges like technical illiteracy, starting with illiteracy in general. Okay, where people are not educated at all or literate at all. Two, technical illiteracy, and then the infrastructure required. Okay, which, as I said, requires a huge amount of investments. And these are some of the major challenges that the government still has, and continue to have for some more years at least. And it is again related to economic development of the country. If the country can afford, then only all this infrastructure will be created and provided. Otherwise, it will take time, its own time.
Yes, sir, perfectly said. As we know that every scheme, policy, or upgradation in the system has its challenges, and as you mentioned, technological technological illiteracy is a major challenge which is faced by the e-governance. And so I would like you to mention what are the other major challenges which are faced by e-governance.
Okay, all right. See, if you look at the internet, though we have the option of choosing different languages, but then I don't know how many of you have tried using other languages than English when it comes to using the internet. Okay. Sometimes just go and try when you get time, and you will find how interesting it becomes. Suppose you choose a language like Gujarati or Marathi or Hindi, for using the internet, you will find that it is really difficult to understand, because the translation itself is difficult. So what I want to say through this is that English is the dominating language, and in our rural area, and in general also, what is the percentage of English speaking people in the country? Not even 5%. Not even 5%. And whereas the fact is that the English is the language of internet. So language dominance of English as a language of internet is another challenge, which means what? You cannot do without English. That's a fact. So the challenge for the government is to spread English literacy. That is another big challenge, apart from the challenges that we talked about, be it technological illiteracy or availability of resources, including finances, etc., which you know makes possible creation of infrastructure and facilities, etc. So uh, then uh, then under our federal system of governance, we have state governments, and we have central government, and we have local governments, and so on and so forth. Under each of the state governments, you will find a number of departments, and as I had mentioned at the beginning, that still we have a silo system. Different departments are operating in their own silos. There are watertight compartments kind of things, where the information transaction or information exchange does not take place among different departments freely. So that is another challenge, which means that what? Integration of different departments at state government level, local government level, and central government level. That is another challenge, because see, for example, you want to create some IT infrastructure in a rural area. Okay, what you will do? Maybe possibly you will lay the fiber optic cables, okay, to transfer the information. Now, for laying the fiber optic cables, the administration will be involved, and under state government, maybe if you are digging the road, the PWD will be involved. So just imagine, for implementing a small project, n number of departments are involved, and there is no integration, or there is hardly any coordination among these different departments. So as a result, what happens? We have seen several examples where, uh, when you dig the road, you find lot of cables underneath the ground. You know, cables of telephone department, cables of electricity department, and cables of so many other departments. Then there are gas pipelines, and there are water pipelines, and so many other things. Why? Because there is no integrated system which is working at any level. Okay. So any department, as per their need, they will come and dig out the road, and they will lay their pipeline or cable and go away. So there is no integration, which is another big challenge. And of course, biggest of all is the investment. Huge amount of investment required, particularly for a country like India, to create this kind of infrastructure to facilitate e-governance at all levels.
Yes, these are the major challenges which needs to be overcome very soon, because otherwise e-governance cannot be properly implemented, completely implemented. So, what are your views on this? Like, how can these challenges be overcome?
Okay, you can look at this particular question from a general public point of view, which means that what are the difficulties that you face when you have to interact with the government, or government departments, or government agencies. So for example, if you want some information from government, or if you want some certificate from issued from government, what type of difficulties you face? The first difficulty that you face is when you visit the state government the government website, you find that often it is not user friendly. Okay, the websites are not user friendly. Most of the time it happens, either it is hanging, or it is not providing the kind of information, or it is taking too much of time, and so on. Okay. So making the government website, all the government website user friendly, starting with increasing the literacy, and particularly the technical illiteracy. So the part of the answer of this question lies in the previous question, where we talked about the challenges. So if technical illiteracy is a challenge, how to overcome that challenge? The only solution is to spread the awareness, or to increase the technical literacy. Okay. And then spreading awareness about different government schemes or e-governance. Okay. Different schemes being implemented through e-governance. So for example, if you talk about this same scheme about which we have talked at length, direct benefit transfer, DBT. See, people did not trust this scheme for a very long time, that anything like this is possible. And only when the money was actually deposited into their accounts, and repeatedly deposited in their accounts, they started believing, and they started trusting. Okay. So, spreading awareness about e-governance in general, and different schemes in particular, is another, another solution. Okay, which again will take time and resources for the government. And more you do all these activities, lesser will be the cost, or more the economies of scale. And economies of scale always brings down the cost. Okay. And of course, integration that we have talked about, or interdepartmental coordination, which is another challenge. So government should actually try and continue trying to integrate different departments, which is as of now, which seems to be more of a hypothetical, actually, uh, hypothetical situation. Okay, because it's very difficult to integrate all the departments. Partially it is possible, but fully it is next to impossible. So this is how government can make this e-governance more and more effective. And we all hope that we see a day where if not 100%, a majority percentage of all the government schemes are transacted and implemented through electronic media.
Definitely, sir. Because as you mentioned that, as you mentioned one line during the about the websites, that government websites are pretty slow. Like this is a complaint of each and every person. If you talk about them, even if it's on online, they're like, we don't like to wait because it gets crashed down pretty easily. So before again now, as you before what Sneha was questioning, and as you told that what college students can you, and you gave an example of a student who had completed 198 courses. So there
It
is
was a faculty staff.
okay, it was from a faculty, yeah.
And I also know one IIT Bombay student who had completed 58 certifications. By the time he completed his graduation BTech, he had completed 58 certifications. And what is the advantage of that? You are you are actually you become a different person away from crowd. You know, the moment the employer looks at your CV, he will be kind of stunned. My God, 58 certifications. Okay. So you set your own, level of, you convey rather
Yeah,
that you
so
are a certain level of knowledge and intelligence.
we like with the help of certificates, we are the one who set ourselves for a benchmark. Like we set a benchmark for ourselves. Ki this is what we have done, and this is something you might be looking for.
Exactly.
Also, Shrikant sir, who is the principal of Atharva Engineering College, has mentioned that Atharva College of Engineering completed 10,000 Coursera and allied courses by students and staff in last 5 years. This is also one of the major achievements, because completing 10,000 certification courses is not less.
It's a
So
huge achievement, huge achievement. So I hope that when he's saying 10,000 courses, it means 10,000 people have completed a variety of courses. That is the way I understand it.
exactly. So basically, sir, the one thing, because as we are from an management background, a bit of a business background, as we me and Sneha are studying from, and you being a director over there. What are the benefits and what are the challenges that a businessman or a business or an organization who's running a business would face with e-governance? What are the benefits and what will be the challenges? I guess challenges would be the same, but what are the benefits?
Benefits, first of all, transparency, speed, reducing the corruption. Before we had e-governance, uh, we did not have transparency. And you talk of any business, and without greasing the palms of the government officials, it was not possible to get any kind of license or any kind of permission. Okay. And talk about something like income tax filing or any kind of tax filing, tax returns filing, how easy it has become. You know, so depending on the requirement of a particular business, there is a huge advantage now because of these e-governance. So there is a increased transparency, there is a reduced corruption, there is a speedy delivery of services, and it goes to the extent that now even the tenders are being passed electronically. You know, so people can bid electronically and the tenders are passed electronically. Why? Because the metrics of metrics are in place, with the help of which by metrics I mean the criteria to decide to pass or fail a particular tender is in place. So everything is possible electronically, and which is being possible now. So people don't have to really go to municipality to get their maps passed now. You have to simply upload your maps or your drawings, and you will get the reply within a specified period of time. So depending on the needs and requirements of particular business, uh, of course, there are benefits, direct and indirect benefits. Several of them, in fact. And the biggest of them is, if you name a few, one, corruption has come down drastically. Transparency has increased. Speed has increased, which is most important in business. Getting a service in speed, in time, I would say. Otherwise, it used to take months of time, months of duration, earlier to get a simple permission.
Definitely, sir. It's very correctly said that previously it used to take months and months to develop to at least start a business. We have to get this
Exactly.
certificate,
Now there is something called as ease of business, ease of doing business. Under
ease of
that,
doing
there are,
business.
you know, so all kind of forms you can file electronically, and you can set up a company sitting in your own room. You can practically set up. One of my friend's son, he has set up a company recently. He did not visit a single government department. Everything has been done electronically.
I guess we
Just
also have
imagine how easy it
Sneha
has
who has
become.
done the same thing. If I'm
Yeah,
not wrong.
exactly.
Yes,
So
yes.
have
Even
you Neha, set up your company systematically, or you are operating as a proprietor?
sir, I have done all the documentation online itself, and I have just recently registered my company as a brand.
Great. What is the name of the company?
So Black Lover.
Black.
Black Lover.
Okay, Black Lover.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is the love behind black?
So it is the color. So basically, my thought is that it is a color which constitutes every color. Like it is always made from mixing all the colors. So it involves variety. That's what I was thinking while naming it.
Okay, okay. We will talk separately on this some other time. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What is the
So,
significance and what all it includes and what it contains actually?
Yes, sir.
Definitely. So majorly we are done with our questions. Just one, like if there is, I don't, Sneha, do you have any other questions? Like,
No, no, you can continue.
okay, fine. So majorly before winding up and inviting Sneha for the vote of thanks, I just wanted so you to a kind of a message you would want to give to all the students who are studying right now for their upcoming future. So just a few words in which you want to convey some message to the students.
Just take advantage of this e-governance and particularly e-education. So as we talked about earlier, there is a huge amount of education modules available from different top class universities all over the world, which are practically available free. Now, if something is enforced from our side or from my office level that you do 10 certifications or you do 5 certifications, it will not give you the kind of motivation which is required. You figure out how many certifications you can do, and let me tell you one thing which is applicable universally for all human beings. We only set our limits. Okay, we as human beings only set our limits. Otherwise there is always a possibility to surpass the limit. So today you decide that okay, in next 2 months I'll complete 5 certifications. Okay. And then next moment if you see that no, why 5, I can complete 10. So you decide that you set a goal of completing 10 certifications in next 2 months. Now, being a management student, you very well know how to plan it and how to break a bigger goal into smaller goals. So 2 weeks means 8 weeks, 2 months means 8 weeks approximately. And if you want to do 10 certifications, how many days you have per certification? You know, so you figure out, you plan your time on one side and you plan your courses on the other side. So you look at the list of courses which are relevant to you and which are useful to you, and figure out how many hours it is going to take for each of the courses, how many days it will require, and then altogether for completing 10 courses how many days it will take. And accordingly, within 2 months if you have to do it, you can decide how many hours per day you will have to work on it, and it is possible. So my message is take maximum advantage of this situation. And when I'm saying this situation, I would say this pandemic situation. As long as the classes are in online mode, you have all the freedom and all the time which you can make utilization of. So take maximum advantage of this situation and complete as many certifications as possible. Okay. I'm not setting any number, but at the end of your, by the time you complete your MBA program, I should say every student should have at least 10 certifications with him or her. At least 10 certifications. Okay. An employer cannot simply refuse you. Prospective employer cannot say no to you.
Perfect, sir. Sir, even I, during the lockdown, after giving the CET, it was very difficult to wait for the results, obviously. So I just started with one Google certification. Then I developed interest in it. And then I organized my time. And in that lockdown period between CET and college, I just completed around 40 certifications myself.
Great, great. So why don't you keep sharing this information so that it provides motivation to others also?
Yes,
You know,
sir.
and for that matter, any kind of success or any kind of achievement should always be shared to provide motivation to others. And in the process, we also get motivated, more and more motivated. Okay. And you would not believe, even now, I keep learning. So I don't actually expect the certifications, etc. But then I keep learning. So I enroll for certifications, though I don't want certificates as it is. But then I enroll and I complete, and I keep doing it. I keep doing it on continuous basis, and there is not a single day when I don't read anything new, or I don't learn anything new, be it small, be it big.
Yes, sir. It
So
is very important.
that is how my guiding principle is this, continuous learning.
Yes, if we explore, then only we will know what field we have interest. Like personally speaking, I developed interest in a completely different field in this lockdown by just doing one certification. I started with one certification. I developed interest in it, and I completed my certification course and. Got a recognized certificate from England Institute of Psychotherapists. So this is a different field for me, but I explored myself during lockdown, and I just got to know that I'm very much interested in this field. And then I just opted for my second graduation in psychology. So
Great, great.
it has been a very amazing and very interesting journey during the lockdown for me.
The psychology as a subject is very, very interesting, and to be successful in any field of life, including business, everyone should study psychology. Everyone must study psychology, because to be successful, you need to convince the customers. Okay, because you have to sell all the time. All the time you are practically selling. When you are talking to someone, you are selling yourself. You are selling your ideas, okay, to convince the other party. So, and that will come when you learn psychology. Okay. So consumer psychology is just a part of it, but then psychology in general one must learn. Every business student must learn. Because of the limitations and restrictions, we are not able to have psychology as a full-fledged subject in the syllabus. Part of it is always there in one or the other subject form, be it organizational behavior or be it other subject. But then psychology is something which everyone must read. And why I'm saying so, if you look at the profiles of the kids of all the business, big business house, big business professionals. For example, if you talk about the kids of Mukesh Ambani, would you like to know what they've studied? Mukesh Ambani's daughter did her graduation in psychology. Okay. Because the most important thing is you need to know how to deal with people, and then rest of all everything else can be taken care of if you know how to deal with people. Yeah. And that is where the psychology comes into play.
Yes.
Definitely, sir. As you told that psychology is pretty important, and also previously the thing you mentioned that you need to keep learning, because I also believe in one thing that the day you stop learning, that will be the day you will be stopping your growth. Until unless you don't keep on learning, you don't learn, you won't be able to attain something new, and you won't be able to adapt to something new, because at that moment of time you will be thinking ki, "Arey, meko sab aata hai, there's no need of nothing new." And then when a change occurs, you won't be able to adapt to that change.
Exactly.
So, majorly, sir, we are done with our questions. So, proceeding ahead with the vote of thanks. Now, I would request Sneha to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful and interactive session. I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to Sri Sunil Rane, Executive President, Atharva Group of Institute, AGI, and Director Sir himself, Dr. R.G. Ratnawat, Director AIMS, for giving us this wonderful platform to interact with masses and for this beautiful session, and Dr. Shubhilal Agarwal, Director, Internal Quality Assurance Cell, AIMS, for connecting us with intellectual capital across the globe. Lastly, I would like to thank Shivang Sharma for being such an amazing co-host. We wish to see you all in the next episode of IT Talks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, Sneha, for the beautiful vote of thanks.
It's a pleasure. It has been a pleasure for me to join in a class and conversation, and I hope that I could share something which I knew. So,
Definitely,
Thank you
sir.
so
And
much,
we'll be
sir.
looking forward for many such episodes with you, and we'll be happy to have your insights on the vast knowledge you have and such a big experience of 36 years, more than our age. You have the experience more than our age, so definitely it will be very useful for us. Sir.
sure, sure.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
See you next time. Yeah.